So you think you're boring. That's why I clicked on the video, right? You think it's a bad thing. But I'm actually here to tell you that there are multiple benefits to being the boring person that far outweigh the cons. If you're the boring person, please watch this. A lot of kids, especially around my age, which is the teenage range, right, think that being boring is a bad thing. You don't get invited to parties, you don't get invited to all these social hangouts, you're not involved with this person, you're not with this girl, you're not with this guy. They think it's a bad thing. But what if I'm here to tell you that it doesn't mean that you're just a bad person? The truth that they don't really want to admit is that most of the successful people you see around that you look up to, they're boring as fuck as well. They have the same mundane routine day in and day out, and they follow it. But they've done it so many times that they've gotten super, super good at it. So it becomes a regular part of their lives, and they don't mind it. To others, it's boring, but to them, it's literally what they love to fucking do, right? It's kind of like the gym. People hate it, or they think it's painful. But then after you do it months and months and months, it becomes second nature, part of your routine. Being boring doesn't mean that you're a bad person that doesn't talk or is so excluded from the world. Being boring more means that you're not always doing stuff outside, you're not always getting in this thing and that thing, you're just really focused. I think that describes a lot of people nowadays where, you're boring in the sense that you don't really branch out, you're not very social, but you're so focused on yourself and you're doing your own hobbies that to you, you're not bored. So this is what I want to tell you, right? I am the boring person. I will tell you that because I'm in group chats and stuff. Whenever there's group chats made and I'm in it and we're about to plan a hangout or do something, right, or talk shit, I'm always the one that talks the least. It's the same thing every fucking GC. I'm always talking the least. And these kids probably thinking that I'm boring. Wow, why am I not talking that much? Why is this? Why is that? It's because I just like to listen more than I talk. You can gather so much more information when you're listening versus when you're blabbing. Because when you're blabbing, how are you going to listen at the same time, right? But, the thing is that I talk with intent. I talk with purpose. Everything I say is a reason. I'm not just throwing memes up. I'm not just saying a bunch of stupid shit. It's kind of the more mature thing to only speak when you need to. And it's not even a thing of me trying to act mature. It's literally a natural thing. So if you're this boring person, just know that you probably have some maturity over the other kids because you don't need to be constantly getting attention, sending this out, sending that out. The memes, not my thing. While they're posting 6, 7 memes in the group chat, I'm just sitting there doing my other shit, right? Because this brings me to my first point, which is why being boring is actually a good thing. It stops wasting time. You become so time efficient when you're more of a mundane person because when you always want to do stuff and you're craving this and that, you end up kind of like, let's say you have a goal to, do this with a certain hobby. Let's say you want to get really good at the song with the guitar, right? You're doing it. But then, you're this extrovert, you're this guy that constantly craves attention. So you get bored of the guitar for a little bit and you start wanting to go to this event or plan something or just do whatever because here's the problem with that. It kind of distracts you from what you need to do. It reinforces temporary pleasure instead of going for the long-term pleasure. So what you want to be doing is sacrificing the now so that way later you can have your result and goodness and stuff, but everyone wants temporary pleasure. These guys, they can't sit with the same hobby for more than an hour or two without having to do something, right? So they're never going to be excellent, let's say, at that one thing because they constantly are distracted, they need this and they need that, their brains are fried. It's like, from all this social media shit and just being caught up in everything, it's kind of like, you crave going out, you need to do something, so waste time. And I'm not saying that having fun out there is wasting time, but it depends on what you're doing too. I'm going to be honest, most kids right now that do stuff hanging out wise, it's usually getting in trouble, it's doing all these different, drugs or whatever, and you know what that does to you. You start getting hooked, you kind of associate with being social, and now every time you want to hang or be social, now you gotta, and it becomes it literally spirals out of control because at first it might seem okay, but then after a while it can kind of control you. And here's the number one thing with drugs: don't let it control you. If you're gonna fucking do it, as I said in a short before, just do it in moderation. If you're gonna get high, right, just do it like once on the weekend and that's it. If you start doing it 3-4 times a week, and especially if you wake and bake, which if you don't know what that is, it's basically when you wake up and you get fried right away, and you probably do that every day, that is when you know there's a problem because you should not be high all day every day. That's the worst thing you do. You might think, oh, it gives you creativity. No, it just slows you down. So being boring eliminates all that bullshit, right? And you can still do hangouts and shit, and you can still have fun. Being boring, as I said, does not mean that you do nothing. It just means you're really focused on what you're doing. And it's usually the same routine all the time. To others, you're boring, but for you, if you like what you're doing, you should be fulfilled. You should love that, right? Don't care what these other motherfuckers think. If you're enjoying what you're doing, and if you feel like you're fulfilling your purpose, you gotta go after it, man. That's what I'm fucking doing, right? No one else is freaking sitting here making these videos. My school, I feel like I'm one of the only kids that are making YouTube content or just making content in general. It's fucking crazy out here. Because most kids, they don't want to get judged, or they're too scared to do what they want to do and to make shit happen. You don't know what this could lead into. You could gain some traction with content creation if you like it, and then boom, you're just growing. And now it can, if you keep going with it for a few years, it can become a career. You don't know. That's why you got to give it a shot. That's what I'm doing right now. I don't give a fuck what these people think. I'm seen as the gym boring kid, the gym rat, but I don't even give a shit. I'm not wasting time. I'm getting shit done every day. I'm recording, I'm editing, and I'm going for it. There ain't nothing wrong with that. Now, the second perk with being a boring person is that you don't get caught up in drama, unnecessary drama. This is like the biggest thing that I can think of, is that when you're boring, you don't get caught up in unnecessary drama. I've been in group chats before where people are talking shit, and it usually revolves around a girl, of course. There's drama, there's this and that, and it's because they just, I don't know, people can't really mind their business. This is one thing I've really noticed in high school, is that, when you see a lot of beefs going on, or just certain drama about this person, that person, a lot of times one of the people in that can't mind their business. They started talking shit, they can't keep their mouth closed, and they're now gossiping to this person, that person in their ear. And then it gets around, just to let you know, if you're trying to gossip, right, and you want it to stay secret, it's not going to happen. It's going to be spread around by word of mouth. I promise you. If you think that you're giving this person a secret and they're going to not tell anyone, you're fucking foolish. They're going to tell someone, man. You can't trust many people at all in this whole school, man. That's one harsh truth I will give you guys. You can't trust really anybody. I mean, you can try to, but I'm telling you, if they do something that you don't expect and it kind of hurts your trust with them and stuff, don't be surprised, because I'm telling you right now, a lot of shit happens, and shit that you don't know is going on, behind your back. So people be talking shit about you, or the thing that you told someone that you wanted them to keep secret, now they're telling everyone, and then this is where the rumors start. And now people can't mind their business. They join in the beef or whatever. And now it's just a whole school-wide thing. So this is what I mean. If you were the boring person, on the other hand, and you didn't, say this thing to the person, you didn't get caught up with all this beef, because, I'm going to be honest, I'm going to get a little more scientific here. Beef and all this rumor and drama stuff, you would think, why do these people want to get into it? Why do they keep getting into it? It's because people's brains are emotional. They crave emotional stuff to happen. That's why when people see a school fight or whatever, they really enjoy it. They look forward to school fights, because it does something to your brain. It gets you with this emotional high, because there's drama going on, right? There's this emotional aspect to drama and stuff that keeps people hooked, and that's why people keep getting in shit. It's that might not even happen on purpose. It's probably a natural thing, but they just get into beef, and that's how it happens. So if you're the boring person, you're not naturally like that, you won't get in all this drama. Instead of being in the drama, you'll be spectating the drama, right? Don't be a spectator of life. Be a spectator of the bad stuff instead. Because being a spectator of life means that you're seeing all these other people succeed, and you're kind of just sitting there blue-pilled, and you're not doing shit. But if you're a spectator of drama and bad stuff, now it flips, because you're being a spectator when it's good to be one, when there's bad stuff happening and you don't want to be in there. So that's when it's good to spectate. Other than that, you got to take charge and be in full control of your life, because what you do now compounds into stuff later on. I made a video even talking about this topic, where what you do now will matter, because in 5 years you could be going down one or two paths. I go way more in depth in that video. Check it out if you want more about that. But yeah, that is the big thing with being boring, that you won't get caught up in unnecessary drama. So here's my challenge to you guys. Be boring for the next year. Yes, be a boring, mundane motherfucker, right? Train consistently, work on your goals, stay out of drama most importantly, and watch how much faster you progress than everyone around you. Drop a comment if you're already the boring friend in you. I want to know I'm not alone in this. And if this resonated with you, subscribe for more content about choosing long-term success over short-term validation. Be boring now so you can be exceptional later. That is the trade-off, and it's worth it every single time. If you made it this far, God bless, and stay tuned for more. See ya.